Yan, so ayan na. Hello po, welcome po ulit sa ating mga participants. And without further ado, I will introduce our resource facilitator for today. And she graduated at Mindanao State University, graduated at cum laude uh, in Bachelor of Science in Economics. He also graduated in University of Southeastern Philippines, graduate of Diploma in Ecom- Econometrics. She also graduated in University of Southeastern Philippines in her master's degree of science in economics. Her work experiences in uh her last three work experiences are Executive Director of Davao Province's Rural Development Institute Incorporated, 2006 to 2008. She is also an executive director of Tri People Concerned for Peace, Progress and Development of Mindanao Incorporated from 2008 to 2009. She is the Chief Executive Officer of Model Cooperative Network, a focus group of cooperatives from 2010 up to present. And let us all welcome our resource facilitator for today, Ms. Rhoda Ruth M. Pillarin. Good morning, Ms. Rhoda.
Good morning, Ma'am Joyce. Nakakahiya
Morning
ang
po.
haba ng introduction. Ang role ko lang naman mag-introduce din kung sino yung
Okay.
magpipresent today. But
Okay.
anyway, with me here this morning, marami kami from MCN and our partner Fami. Because we want to bring to you more information on cooperative investing and the choices that we have at present. No? So para marami tayong pagpipilian. Anyway, so kasama ko from MCN are Bale Mamparo and Jel Asoy. Should we move further towards more productive co-op investing, silang dalawa po yung from MCN na mag-a-assist sa inyo. And then from our partner, our fund manager, which is First Metro Asset Management Incorporated or FAMI, we have Ma'am Imelda Estrada, the VP branch head for Vismin of FAMI. But don't you worry, kahit nasa Luzon kayo, Ma'am Imelda would still be happy to serve you. And of course, yung partner namin sa Davao for FAMI, si Ma'am Sally Kema. Okay, so lima kami ngayon. And so this is how we're going to this is what we're going to do today. First is we're going to have a short input on cooperative investing, and then we are going to introduce to you the mutual fund that is owned by the cooperatives, in which we also want to invite your cooperative to be part of this mutual fund also. And then after that, there will be a presentation from our fund manager, which is Fami. And then after all those presentations, we're going to have an open forum kung sakaling meron kayong mga tanong with regards to our topic for today. Okay, so without further ado, let's start with the first input. I'll give you Mr. Bale Mamparo of MCN.
Hello po, everyone. Okay. Uh, Today, I will be giving some inputs on cooperative investing. But before that, I would like to thank everyone for joining us here today, and especially sa ating partners from Fami. Thank you for having the time to be with us. I'll be talking about cooperative investing, a very short talk about cooperative investing. So let's start it. So this is the courses, this is the topics that we are going to be covering today. Meaning of investment, objectives, characteristics, types, investment for cooperatives, diesel focus dynamic fund, then when is a good time to invest, the monthly investment program, and the uses of mutual fund for individuals. So let's start. Since we are here about investment, let's define investment. An investment is an asset or item acquired with a goal for generating income or appreciation. So sa atin, in finance, it is something that we purchase, we acquire, that we expect to give us income in the form of dividends or interest, And sometimes it is something that we acquire, na purchase natin, so that we can sell it for a higher price in the near future. So investment is anything that brings value, additional value to our company. So here's a quote of Warren Buffett. I made my first investment at age 11. I was wasting my life up until then. So this just shows the importance of investment, not just in the cooperative, not just in a company, but in our personal lives, sa ating sarili. Grabe yung intensity na pinakita niya sa importance ng investment. So in an investment, there are different characteristics of investment, that these are the things that we look into when we talk about investment. Ito yung tinitingnan natin kapag nag-uusap tayo about investment. So number one, return, the risk, the safety, and the liquidity. Return depends on the nature of the investment. So yes, return is the first thing that's always being asked when we talk about investment. What will be my profits? What will be my returns? Ano ba yung makukuha namin dyan? Ano ba yung kikitain namin dyan? Magkano ba? Ganun. So it depends on the nature of the investment. So we all know that there are different types of investment. There are very different types of investment vehicle. And those investment vehicles have very different natures then. So iba-iba yan, and the returns varies depending on the nature of the investment. Kung ano tong klase ng investment to, magdidepende din yung return, kasi we all know na may mga investment choices na mas malaki yung return. May mga investment choice mas maliit yung return. So nakabase din yan sa nature, and of course depends on the maturity period. Ito yung sinasabi ko kanina na the longer you are invested, the better it is for you. So yung maturity period, kung gaano katagal na naka-invest, gaano katagal magla-lasting investment na yan, yun yung maturity period that affects greatly sa mga investment choices natin dyan. So returns are received in the form of yield, dividend or interest, plus the capital appreciation. So we will talk about more about this capital appreciation later. Yung risk, alam naman natin yung risk. Very familiar tayo ng risk, kasi risk is something that's always present on every investment vehicle. So it is inherent in any investment vehicle. The higher the risk, the higher the return. Then risk is the chance that the expected income would differ from the actual income of the investment. So it could also mean na we can lose some money, ganun. So there's always that chance. So it depends on us, on our risk tolerance, on our risk appetite, on how much risk are we willing to take in. Kasi if we can take in higher levels of risk, generally what would happen is we would also be exposed to higher returns. To ganun. Mas malaki yung risk, mas malaki yung return. Pero if you want to play it safe, to be conservative, the returns would not be as higher compared sa higher risk, ganun. So nagsasama talaga yung risk at saka return. Safety, yun. This is very important kasi number one talaga tong safety. Una talaga yan, every investment choice na titingnan natin, every investment vehicle na titingnan natin, we should be sure that that investment vehicle is safe. Alam natin na our investments, our assets put into that vehicle, our assets invested is safe. So according to the modern portfolio theory, it believes that the risk is an inherent part of reaping a higher level of reward. So in this context, safety first means minimizing the probability of negative returns. So yun nga, risk is something na hindi natin mawawala. It cannot be completely wiped out. So what we can do to keep our investment safe, we can minimize the risk sa ating investment. Next is liquidity. Especially ngayon na we are in the middle of this pandemic, liquidity is very important to us. Yun yung sinasabi nila na cash is king. Cash is king is, 'di ba? Alam natin na cash is isa sa pinaka-liquid na mga assets there is. So, very important talaga ang liquidity sa atin, especially during these times. So, what is liquidity? Liquidity on an investment if that investment can be converted to cash. So from investment to cash, if it can be easily converted without the loss of money and time, that investment is liquid. So yun. Objectives of investment. So this is on a investor's perspective. Kasi once we invest, we should always look into this three. We should always remember these three: maximization of return, minimization of risk, hedge against inflation. So maximization of return, of course, when we want to invest on something, we want to maximize. We want to get as much as we can out of that investment vehicle, out of that investment. Yun. So, uh, however, as we have said earlier, as I have said earlier, when you maximize your return, when you want higher returns, the risk is also increased. Mas mataas din yung risk kapag mas mataas yung return. So dito na tayo sa number 2 na minimization of risk. So we want to minimize the risk also because we don't want to expose ourselves into unnecessary risk. Kasi yun yung minsan na iniisip ng tao, risky to siya. It's probably mataas yung return nito. No, there are also times na we get exposed to unnecessary risk for our intention of getting higher returns. So that's why these two go together. Maximization of return and minimization of risk. We have to find the right balance for us, especially sa atin sa cooperatives, sa ating mga own cooperatives. We have to find the right balance kung ano ba yung desired return natin and ano ba yung level ng risk na kaya natin i-expose ang ating sarili o ang ating cooperative. So, it would depend on a lot of factors. Mainly number 1 yung size ng ating investment, size ng ating cooperative, because the bigger the investment, the mas marami yung the bigger the assets, the higher level of risk it can tolerate. So kung sino yung mas malaki yung asset, usually kung sino yung mas malaki na cooperative, sila yung mas makatolerate ng higher levels of risk. So with that comes with higher levels of return. So that's always something na we should remember. Kung ano yung kaya natin i-take in a risk, yun lang din yung level of return na nakukuha natin. We can't we should not keep on taking on risk. Especially ngayon, it's very risky ngayon kasi yun nga medyo volatile ang market ngayon, ang ating economy, medyo volatile siya. So we have to beware of the risks of sa ating investments. Even yung mga prior investments natin, we have to revisit them. Kung mag-apply pa ba until ngayon yung maximization of return and minimization of risk natin, because the investment before this pandemic is different when you put it into this setting. May kaibahan na. Next is the hedge against inflation. Yun nga, we are chasing na ang ating investment would gain something. Now, the returns of our investment should at least beat the inflation rate. Yun. Kasi every year, our assets, our money loses its value because of inflation, because of the rise of the prices of goods and services. Because of that. Now, if we want to hedge our money, we should put it into an investment vehicle that has a return na higher sa inflation rate. Kasi if it's not beating, if the investment vehicle is not beating the inflation rate, it's not a good investment. Yun talaga, at least beat the inflation rate. That's a good investment if at least mabibit niya yung inflation rate. Of course, it's better, much better if mas higher, way higher than the inflation rate. Pero yun talaga yung bare minimum ng isang investment vehicle. It should at least beat the inflation rate. There are a lot of types of investment. The higher it is in the hierarchy, the higher the risk and the higher the return. At dito sa baba, the lower the risk, the lower the return. As you can see, yung mga stocks, yung mga ganyang equities nandun sa higher level, while the bonds, yung mga bonds, mga mga checking account, savings account, nandito sa lower level. Because itong mga bonds, they have they have itong mga bonds and treasury issues, they have a fixed return. So alam natin how much we are gaining every month. Sa bonds, fixed na talaga yan. Pero dito sa mga stocks, nag-change siya depending on the market condition, depending on our economy, mag-change siya. It could go high, it could go low. Yun. So that's why nandun siya sa upper level, because mas mataas yung level of risk because of the volatility na meron itong ating mga stocks. So if we want to invest and we want to be conservative, we want to play it safe, the best choice would be bonds, mga treasury issues, mga ganun. Pero if we want to seek higher returns, dun tayo sa mga stocks, ganun. So investing for cooperatives, this is very important for us kasi nandito tayo sa cooperative sector. We should look into investing. It's very important. Not just sa cooperative siguro, mainly most businesses, all businesses, most organizations, they need investment to survive. It should always be a part of the business, yung investment. So sa atin na cooperatives, we have a lot of investment choices. First is cooperatives own business, the working capital for co-ops business. So before we invest into a different investment vehicle, we should look into our own business. Kung ano yung business ng co-op natin, we should look into that and see if we are investing enough sa ating cooperative, sa ating own business. Kasi yan naman talaga yung number one life ng ating cooperative, yung ating own business. So ideally, 80% of the total assets should be utilized productively in the co-op's own business. Yun. Many of us here, maybe a lot of us here are putting 80% of their assets in their own cooperative's own business. But the question is that, are those assets being utilized properly, being utilized productively? Yun eh. It's not enough na sige, itong 80% ng ating assets ilalagay natin sa ating own business. It should be the 80% should be productively utilized. Hindi lang pwede na ilalagay lang. It should be utilized. It should bring us more value later on as we go on with our own business. Second is savings deposits. Savings deposits, we all have this. So banks and other near liquid instruments for safekeeping and liquidity. At itong savings deposits, this is ideally it should be short term lang. It should not be put into a investment vehicle na ang time niya, ang kanyang maturity period ay long term, ay matagal. Because dapat liquid lang itong savings deposits. So ideally enough to fund short-term cash needs of the operations and or 15% of the deposit liabilities for a savings and credit cooperative. So various investment vehicles, yun yung third choice natin. Kasi when we ask about investment, marami tayong mga investment vehicles na options out there. So it is meant for capital preservation and appreciation. Yun. For funding of statutory requirements, example, 100% of the co-ops reserve fund. So yun. Important din kasi some co-ops are just investing on their own business. And that's not enough to invest on your own business. There are also various investment vehicles that we can invest in. It's also important na hindi natin lahat ilalagay sa ating own business. Look into other investment vehicles kung pwede ba tayo mag-invest, kung mag-fit ba yan na investment vehicle for us. Number 4, investment in federations, unions, cooperative banks, and inter-co-op ventures. So I believe na most of us here, if not all, have our own federations, unions. So it is important to invest on those, because we are not only investing sa kanila, we are also investing for the development of the cooperative sector in general. Itong investment natin sa ating mga federation and unions, it is very important as a whole, sa whole cooperative sector ng Philippines. It is very important for that. Ang development, ang improvement ng ating sector lies on our investment on those federations and unions. So now we have already alam na natin kung ano yung mga investment choices natin. So that question is, ano yung kukunan natin ng investment? Saan tayo kukuha ng funds? Ano yung magiging source natin para i-invest on those investment choices that we have? So number 1, members, shares, and deposits for capital of the cooperative's own business. Ito naman talaga ginagawa natin. Ang shares and deposits ng ating mga members are being put into the cooperative's own business. Ito talaga yung first thing na ginagawa natin when we start our cooperative. Number 2, portion of the members deposit as liquidity fund. So remember, as liquidity, it should be short term. Ideally 15% of deposit liabilities. So we can also get sources there to invest. Number 3, portion of members' shares and deposits that are unutilized for the co-op business. Yun nga, it is good that yung sinasabi natin, ideally na 80%. It is good that we are putting 80% of our assets into our own business, pero it should be utilized properly. If those assets are not utilized properly, we can also invest them into near liquid investment vehicles while waiting for the opportunity to invest in more productive businesses or instruments. So for example, we are planning on investing on a building. Magpapagawa tayo ng ating own building, and that's an investment into our own business. Pero for the meantime na hindi pa natin sisimulan, wala pang movement doon na project natin, we can park those assets into near liquid investment vehicles para naman kumita siya even for a short time lang naman. Sources of investable funds, cooperatives reserve funds. So standards require that this should be placed in securities not related to the co-op business to serve as the co-op's last line of defense in the event of economic problems. So every one of us here, meron talaga sa ating own cooperatives, we have our own reserve funds. So itong reserve funds natin, ang isa sa mga the best na pwede natin i-invest into an investment vehicle. Kasi yung reserve funds natin, andyan lang. We cannot touch that unless needed na talaga, unless yung may major economic problems na talaga tayo. We cannot touch that. So, since we cannot touch that, andun lang siya, and it's just losing value because of inflation, the good thing is to invest that on an investment vehicle na not part of our own business. So, isa to sa mga the best sources of investable funds natin, itong cooperatives reserve funds. So that's it for the investing for cooperatives. And now I am gonna talk about the SAL-Focus, which is the First Metro Save and Learn Focus Dynamic Fund. So ano tong SAL-Focus? SAL-Focus is a mutual fund company specifically designed by Fami and MCN with focus group of cooperatives to give cooperatives opportunity to invest in the financial market. So yun. This Salfocus was made para talaga sa mga cooperatives. The investors in this fund, itong mutual fund na to, the investors, all of it are cooperatives, big or small, and their respective cooperative members. So it's good thing to have a mutual fund na para sa atin na mga cooperatives, because there is a need. We have seen that there is a need. uh, peop, uh, uh, Cooperatives are wanting to invest in the financial market kasi financial market has lots of opportunities for us, especially sa ating investments. So that's why we have created this Focus. It was created July 23, 2019. Objective is long-term capital appreciation, investment outlets, stocks listed in the PSC and fixed income instruments. Minimum investment is 5,000 and additional investment is 1,000. Now, on the cooperative level, itong 5,000 is just very small. It's just it's okay naman to if you just want to start our portfolio, just to open an account, 5,000. Pero if you want to make the most out of an investment vehicle, out of this self-focused dynamic fund, if you want to make the most out of it, medyo it's a good thing to put more assets, not just limit ourselves to 5,000. So we have a minimum holding period 6 months, sales load up to 2%, then early redemption fee. We'll talk about this later on. So yeah, Self-Focused Dynamic Fund is a mutual fund company. Now, ano ba tong mutual fund? What is the concept of mutual fund? Basically, the concept of mutual fund is that this fund pulls money from investors, from different investors, and that money is pulled together and being managed as a single portfolio, and then invested into different assets like bonds, like stocks, money market instruments. So hindi lang siya bonds, hindi lang siya stocks. It is spread out sa different investment choices na meron. So mutual funds are being managed by professional fund managers who are guided by strict laws and rules and regulations of the Securities and Exchange Commission. So it is backed by the Securities and Exchange Commission. So we know na safe ang ating pera because it is registered sa SEC. So why do we invest in mutual funds? Yun nga. So sa dami-rami ng investment choices out there, on our different on those investment choices out there, isa itong mutual fund that we are looking into. So why mutual fund? Bakit sa mutual fund instead of other investment choices? So number one reason is low initial investment. Yun nga sinasabi kanina, minimum investment natin sa Self-Focus is just 5,000 pesos. Pero wala pang nag-i-invest ng minimum of 5,000 pesos. I have never seen a cooperative nag-invest sa Self-Focus na 5,000 pesos. Usually way higher than the initial investment. Kasi Self-Focus is a good investment, and you have to see na gaano kalaki yung opportunity there is for us sa Self-Focus, so that we would know kung gaano din kalaki yung pwede natin i-invest on this investment vehicle. Next, professional management. So the good thing about Self-Focus is that it's professionally managed. Our fund manager is Fami, the First Metro Asset Management Corporation, incorporated. It is it is under the Metro Bank Group. So the good thing about professional management is that we no longer have to do yung mga market research compared to direct investing. Kasi if you want to invest directly into the stock markets, parang bakit kami mag-i-invest sa mutual fund kung kami na lang diretso mag-i-invest kami sa PSE? What would happen is that we have to do a lot of work. We have to give it a lot of time, and generally costly talaga ang direct investing, especially for us kasi kailangan pa natin mag-market research, kailangan pa natin every time titingnan kung ano yung update sa ating economy, kung ano yung development sa ating economy. And our economy is a very big thing to look into kasi meron tayong mga industrials, financial, services. So we have to look into that and a lot of other factors. Pero because mutual funds, because self-focus is professionally managed, we no longer have to do that. We just have to put in our money and let our fund manager do the hard work. Sila na yung bahala mag-research ng mga stocks kung saan mag-invest. Sila na yung bahala kung ano na yung nangyayari sa ating economy and ano yung magandang gawin because of those things. Next is diversification. So it's good to diversify our investments. Uh, yung sinasabi natin na not to put our eggs in one basket. We have to spread out our investment. So for example, let's say yung minimum investment na 5,000. Yung 5,000 mo, if you want to invest that into the stock market, mangyayari, isang stock lang yung mabibili mo. Pero if you are invested into mutual fund, that money would be spread out into a mix of stocks and bonds. So it's diversified. Next is liquidity. Yes, self-focus is very liquid instrument. It can easily be converted to cash. Napakadali lang. It does not take I think the usual time is 3 to 5 days pwede natin ma-convert. So ganun lang kadali. Next, safety. I have mentioned this earlier. It is under the laws or rules and regulation of the SEC. So it's safe talaga. Next is compounding. This is very important, not just sa self-focus, on on any investment vehicle out there. Compounding, kasi the longer we are invested, the higher the returns we get because of compounding. Because, for example, we are invested on 5 years, and every year our money grows. And that profit every year also grows money. Yun yung concept ng compounding. Next is transparency. At self-focus is monitored daily. Meron tayong tinatawag na NAV-PS, net asset value per share. It's the value of the fund per share. So, every day siya minomonitor, every day siya pinapakita. So, that's why it can easily be easy monitoring para sa atin. And it's very transparent kasi nga, anytime we want to look at it, pwede natin malaman kung kumusta na yung value ng ating fund, kung kumusta na yung ating investment, ganun. So it's very transparent. Next is voting rights. This is also important because some investment vehicles out there, you're just an investor. Pero in self-focus, in this mutual fund, we have voting rights because we are also shareholders of the self-focus dynamic fund. Investors are also shareholders, which means investors has voting rights. And being in the cooperative sector, alam natin kung gaano ka-importante tong tong voting rights, especially on the election of our officers. Next is potential higher returns. Because it is managed as a single portfolio, we can take advantage of certain economies of scale para we can get potential higher returns. So dito yung isa na pinakalamang ng mutual fund compared sa direct investing or on investing na ikaw lang. Itong potential higher returns. Next is tax-free. Yun. Isa din napansin ko sa direct investing, napaka-raming deductions ng tax. Yun. Meron talagang tax. Pero itong mutual fund, it is exempted from capital gains tax. So it is also ito din is something na pwede natin i-consider when we invest in something. Yung tinatawag na tax shelter. Kung tax-free ba yan, kung hindi, yung ganun. So how do we make money in mutual funds? So self-focus dynamic fund is a good investment choice, pero how do we make money? So there are a lot of ways how a cooperative can make money from self-focus dynamic fund. And the most basic way of earning money in self-focus is through capital appreciation. Ano tong capital appreciation? It's the increase in value of our investment. So let's say we bought 500,000 shares at a net asset value per share of 0.182. Actually, right now, the NAV PS of self-focused dynamic fund is playing at this level, at 0.18 na level. So very mura siya ngayon. So let's that 500,000 shares at 0.182 would have a value of 91,000 pesos. Yun yung investment mo, yung 91. So later on, as years go by, ilalagay mo lang yung investment mo dyan, yung value ng fund magi-increase. Yung value ng yung investment magi-increase. So let's say after 5 years, you have sold the your investment, the 500,000 shares at 1.578. Etong sa mutual fund, our number of shares stay the same, pero yung value per share, yun yung nag-i-increase. So, yung 500,000 shares the same, pero iba na yung value, increase na yung value. So, the value would be 789,000. And that would translate to this, itong computation. So 91,000 yung ating cost ng investment, and the new value is 789,000. Makaka-gain tayo ng 698,000. So some would be saying na grabe naman, ang laki naman ng tinubo, baka hindi na yan realistic. Remember na from January 2009 to January 2013, the Philippine Stock Exchange Index grew 242.05%. Ganun kalaki yung opportunity to earn money on this investment vehicle. Biro mo yung PSEI, 242%. 100% is malaki na nga. Ito 242.05 yung PSEI. You can look this into the internet. Grabe talaga yung pag-grow ng PSEI. So ano yung corporate structure ng fund na ito? So of course, we have the shareholders or the investors. And the shareholders, yun nga, because may voting rights sila, they can participate in the election of our mga elected officers. Then we have our board of directors. So then we have our Fami, the First Metro Asset Management Incorporated. Sila yung ating investment advisor, fund administrator, and distributor. The Model Cooperative Network, siya yung principal distributor natin. Then our custodian bank is HSBC or Hong Kong Shanghai Bank. Then external auditor is SGV. So good thing na ina-audit from time to time itong ating investment. So we can monitor kung properly managed ba yung ating investment. So ito na, sales load and exit fees. Ano ba yung babayaran natin? May membership fee ba kami nababayaran? Ano pa ba yung kailangan namin gawin to invest into self-focused dynamic fund? First, yun talaga, wala tayong membership fee na babayaran. If you are a cooperative and you want to invest, you can invest even right now. So what we have is itong sales load. And sales load natin is maxed at 2%. Napakaliit lang, 2%. Pero as you can see on the table, the higher the investment, the lower the sales load. So if we are to invest 2 million pesos, yung sales load 0.50% na lang. Ang liit na lang ng 0.15%. Yan na lang yung mababawas sa ating investment. So ito may sample computation paano binabawas itong sales load natin. Ito, you can look at that. Then meron tayong tinatawag na exit fee. Exit fee is just 1% if withdrawn within 6 months from the date investment was made. Kasi yung ibang investors, once they have reached their goal, kukunin na nila yung kanilang investment, even short time lang sila naka-invest. So for example, an investor is looking into a 45% gain, 45% profit, yun yung target niya. And ano pa lang, let's say within 3 months na-reach na niya yung 45% gain. Yung nangyari is kinukuha na niya yung kina-cash in na niya yung kanyang investment. That's why meron tayong exit fee. Pero if ever meron tayo is because it's a long-term capital appreciation nga san. Pero if ever na maglampas tayo sa 6 months, mangyari wala na tayong exit fee na babayaran. Yun na lang yung sales load. And the sales load is just one time. Pagpasok lang natin ng investment. After that, wala nang sales load. Percentage, currently ito yung top 5 holdings ng self-focused dynamic fund. So it is invested in SM, Ayala, and JG Summit Holdings. So yan, we are only allowed to disclose atong top 5 investment. If you want to view yung updated every day na updated na holdings ng self-focused dynamic fund, you can look at it sa website ng Fami. Meron dun information about the self-focused dynamic fund. So asset allocation, equity is 45.67, cash and other assets is 54.53. The fund adopts a tactical asset allocation approach by having the ability to switch between equities, bonds, and cash with a wider range in the permitted allocation between equities and fixed income assets needed. So, di ba, we have learned earlier na fixed income like bonds, yun nga, yung mga bonds, they have fixed income. Alam na natin kung magkano yung ma-earn natin sa bonds. And we have these equities, etong mga nasa stock market, hindi change yung kanyang value, ever changing yung kanyang value. So sa self-focused dynamic fund, it's a mix of fixed income and yung mga stocks, yung mga equities. So it can adjust to our objectives kanina, yung maximization of return and minimization of risk. Yun. So because it can change kung hindi siya puro fixed income lang, hindi din siya puro stocks lang, it can change. So ma-maximize niya yung return. And also it can also change in reaction to what's happening. Pwede mag-change to bonds lang kasi mas fixed if ever the market is very risky at that time, ganun. So pwede siya mag-change, hindi siya fixed lang to isang kind of investment. Ito, when is a good time to invest? The answer to this question is anytime is a good time to invest. So that brings us to our next question. When is the best time to invest? So remember pala na investing is good. We should invest as early as we can and as much as we can. Yun yung i-remember natin sa investment. So when is a good time to invest? So a quote by Baron Rothschild, isang British nobleman from 18th century. The time to buy is when there's blood in the streets. And meron tong kadugtong, even if that blood is yours. So what does that mean sa atin sa investment? That translates to when the market seems worst, the opportunity for profit is at its best. So ano yung ibig ko sabihin niyan? Ano ba yung ibig ko sabihin niyan? Ito yung ibig sabihin niyan. Diba ito yung mga headlines nung March. If we can remember, third week of March, GSIS and SS bought a ton of stocks, 385 million worth of stocks. Oh, ang question is, bakit noong third week of March pa sila nag-buy ng stocks na to? Bakit ang laki ng binili nila na stocks, 385 million worth of stocks on the third week of March? What happened on the third week of March? The third week of March is one of the worst periods sa ating Philippine Stock Exchange. Na-remember natin na nagka-market shutdown tayo sa Philippine Stock Exchange. That week, yung third week is isa sa pinaka-worst na weeks ng Philippine Stock Exchange. Ano yung ginawa na GSIS and SSS? Familiar naman siguro tayo sa GSIS and SSS. Doon, nag-invest sila during that time. Because alam nila that yun nga, the time to buy is when there's blood in the streets. When others are running away from investment, yung ginawa nila, nag-invest sila during that time. So, ito ang graph ng performance ng Philippine Stock Exchange Index from its start inception to 2020. Right now, itong Philippine Stock Exchange Index, it's an index of top 30 corporations. Yun tinatawag natin blue chips. Top 30 corporations dito sa ating na publicly listed corporations dito sa Philippines. So it's a mix of yung mga kilala natin ng mga companies, Ayala, SM, Globe, PLDT, yung mga it's a mix of that. So that gives us a peak. Itong Philippine Stock Exchange Index, that gives us a peak kung ano na yung performance ng ating economy, because it's a mix of different publicly listed companies. So as you can see, ang Philippine Stock Exchange, may mga movement talaga yan. Nag-change talaga yung movement. Hindi siya one way up or one way down. There are times na tataas, bababa, taas, taas, bababa. So, when is the best time to invest? Ito, as you can see sa red arrow, yung mga dips, market dips, when the market is at its lowest, dun yung best time to invest. And pay attention to this. Itong may circle. Itong pinakababa na level, dyan yung time na third week na of March na yung SSS and GSIS bought yung 385 million worth of stocks. So yan. So as you can see, andito pa rin tayo sa baba. Bumaba talaga tayo because of this pandemic. Andito talaga tayo. Now, if there's something good siguro, alam naman natin na this pandemic has brought us a lot of problems. If there's something good na we can get out of this pandemic, it is the opportunity. Yung something good na pwede natin siguro makuha sa pandemic so is yung opportunity to invest. Kasi as you can see, napakababa ng market ngayon, napakamura ng mga stocks, ng prices ng stocks. It's a very big opportunity to us to invest right now. Ngayon talaga yung best time na mag-invest tayo. Kasi we should not wait for the recovery. We should be proactive. We should start investing now. Kasi by that time na marinig na natin sa news na nag-recover na yung market, na magbalik na yung operations ng lahat, it would be already too late because the stock prices would shoot up. Buyers would be buying tons of stocks. Grabe na yung buying niya ng stocks. And by that time, kung dyan pa tayo bibili, dyan pa tayo mag-i-invest, yung room for profit is smaller. Pero kung dito tayo sa baba, kung dito tayo sa below na level mag-i-invest, yung room for profit at napakataas. That's just talking about sa market recovery natin. As you can see, napakalayo pa ng pwede natin itaas. And if we're into investment sa long term, magtataas pa talaga ng tataas yung ating market. So as you can see naman, ang direction ng ating market is always upward. Though merong dips, pero temporary lang din naman yan, it always goes up yung ating market. So what is this monthly investment program? So according to Warren Buffett, never depend on a single income. Made investment to create a second source. So di tayo pwede aasa lang sa isang single income. Yun nga, alam na naman natin, meron tayong makakasama siguro dyan sa ating cooperative na may mga sideline. Nagbibenta nito, nagbibenta ng ganyan. And it's a good thing to have a second source of income. And that's something that all of us should do. We have to create another source of income for us. So the MIP is an investment plan designed for cooperative members and employees. So yun nga. The self-focused dynamic fund is not just strictly for the cooperative. Isa na reason why self-focus was made is to give members and employees of the cooperatives an opportunity to invest in the financial market. Kasi tayo ng mga workers lang, usually wala tayong chance to invest in the financial market. When you say stock exchange, ano yung maiisip? Pang mayayaman lang yung stock exchange. Hindi ka pwede mag-invest dyan pag konti lang yung pera mo. It's true. It's very hard to invest in the stock exchange pag konti lang yung pera mo. Pero now that we have the self-focused dynamic fund, we have this mutual fund, we have the opportunity, the same opportunity as yung tinatawag natin ng mga mayayaman. We have that same opportunity to invest in the stock market. We should end the days na yung nakikinabang lang sa stock market, sa financial market is yung mga elites na ating society, yung mga oligarchs na sinasabi natin, yung mga sobrang yaman na tao. We should end those days because we can also invest on the same investment choice that they have. Yun. The opportunity has been given to us, to our cooperative, and to our members. So, of course, yung mga members who want to invest in self-focused dynamic fund would also help their cooperatives. So, how can they help? Ito yung tinatawag ko na itong sa monthly investment program, let's take a sample size of 50 employees and members in a cooperative wanting to invest through MIP. So ito, we have prepared a table year 1 to year 30. So an example na 250 per month, 550 per month, and 1,000 per month na investment. That's multiplied into 50 kasi ito yung sample size natin, 50 employees and members. So pay attention to this. Ito yung my circle. Yan yung potential earnings na pwede ma-earn ng isang cooperative. Just from the investment of its members. Hindi pa dyan kasali yung capital appreciation, which is yung pinaka main way of earning money sa self-focused dynamic fund. So this is another source of income. Yun nga, another source. We have to look into a second source of income, second stream of income. So this is another source of income for the cooperatives, and at the same time helping the members and employees. So what's in it for the co-op? Sir, parang okay yung investment na sinasabi mo, pero ano bang makukuha namin dyan? So first, na makuha natin yung capital appreciation, value appreciation. Over time, tataas yung value. Then we can buy now, then later on, sell it into a higher value, gaya ng pinakita ko ngayon. Pero ano talaga siya? Ano ang mabe-benefit ng ano pa yung mabe-benefit ng cooperative? So number one, another investment vehicle for the cooperative and its members. So yun nga, it's a new investment vehicle. It's bringing a new investment vehicle into our cooperative is also promoting the concept of diversification. Sa upper management ng ating mga cooperatives, they know how important diversification is, and it should be good to start promoting the concept of diversification. Kasi hindi lang yung diversification, hindi lang para sa business natin yan. It could also mean for our mga members, para sa ating mga employees, ganun. Next is promote investment of financial literacy by offering economical investment option. Ito din, financial literacy, we can also help in this kasi once na investor ng isang cooperative, we can help them in promoting financial literacy. That means we can give financial literacy seminars para sa mga members, sa mga investors, or for the cooperative itself. A partner natin dito ang Fami, yung First Metro Asset Management Incorporated. Next is earn servicing fee or rebate of 30% per annum from the total investments of the cooperative and its members. So every year, meron tayong servicing fee, 30% of the total asset managed, yung total investments of the cooperative and its members, 0.30%. Every year yan. So the higher our investment is every year, the higher our servicing fee would be. So para yan sa cooperative, itong 0.30. Next, investor cooperatives earn referral fee equivalent to 90% of the total sales load. So yun, di ba napansin natin kanina yung sales load natin is maxed at 2%. Ang liit na nga lang ng 2%. Pero 90% of that sales load would be given back to the cooperative. So not only does the cooperative not only the cooperative has invested, has taken advantage of this opportunity to invest for capital appreciation, meron pang sales load, meron pang referral fee. So meron pang another source of income itong cooperative. Then not just that, referral fee from the total sales load of the individual investors. So may investment si cooperative, and here comes marami tayong member na nag-invest din. So yung referral fee mapupunta din sa cooperative. So imagine how much income you can generate out of this pa lang. And this is just the secondary ways of earning money sa isang cooperative, sa self-focus. Yung pinaka main talaga yung sinasabi natin kanina, value appreciation. So we have these cooperatives already invested. So marami-rami na din tayo na andito sa self-focused dynamic fund. Ito yung aming contact details. If you want to talk to us, like gusto nyo mag-present kami sa board nyo, you can reach us through these numbers or coordinate with UNECO. They will help us. They will help you sa pag-coordinate nito. Next is successful investing starts with courage. Yun nga. Many people always think, a lot of people has ideas kung paano sila yayaman. So merong gusto mag-invest sa new business, mag-invest sa mga investment vehicles na ganito, may iba na may sariling idea ng investing na gagawin. Pero what happens is a lot of people do not start investing out of fear siguro or their own personal reasons. So successful investing starts with courage. Yun talaga, we have to take that leap, 'di ba? We have to take that risk kasi when there's risk, there's opportunity to earn.
Okay,